When I hear about cyber crimes and banking scams, it's scary to see just how prevalent it is here in South Africa. Now, SABRIC just launched its annual crime stats this week, and SABRIC CEO and very good friend of ours, Kalyani Pillay, is here to share what I would imagine are some chilling statistics, or maybe there are a few positives thrown in. And the modus operandi is that they've increased, and how we should be protecting ourselves is the positive side, because there are tools and ways that we can tackle it. Han, welcome back.
Thank you very much,
With the bad news, you always come. No, we play an absolutely vital role, I'm learning, because it's all about educating yourself, knowing what's going on. Is it a lot worse now? What is the prevalence of cyber crimes, especially here in South Africa?
Well, certainly we've seen some scary figures. We've seen some good ones as well, but let's talk about on the digital side. So on the digital side, on digital platforms, we've seen a very significant increase in the number of incidents. We've had, comparing 2017 with 2018, 75% increase, very, very significant.
Wow.
And in terms of the amount of money lost, we saw a 4.9% increase in that. So while the percentage and the amount is low, it's still a big figure. And what we're finding is that on the banking app space, on the mobile banking, and on online banking, we've seen greater number of incidents, which is the 75%. And so, you know, it's all come about, Graham, as a result of the fact that there's no problem with the platform. So we haven't had the platform being impacted upon or compromised. Thank goodness. It's us. Absolutely. So unfortunately, we've seen on the different spaces people still responding to phishing emails, still responding to calls for phishing, you know, where the person purports to be somebody else or a bank. And they're providing information. We're seeing SIM swaps as well taking place. But again, very, very important. I think that the important thing is that bank customers need to know this. It's a simple thing. Your bank will never call you and ask you to give them your username, your password, your expiry date, your CVV number, the three numbers.
Any critical information that's used in a security space.
and with that information, being empowered with that information enables the criminals to go onto the different digital platforms and then compromise other people's bank accounts and spend their money.
Why is the penny not dropping, do you think? You know, it says to me if there's more crimes happening with less money, maybe that the crimes seem less vicious or a little more innocuous, smaller amounts, more frequently, maybe has a story to tell, but why?
I think it's more about people, psychologically, people think, gosh, the app is safe, so I don't need to take any precautions. It doesn't work like that. There's a whole risk lies with the banks, risk lies with you and I as individuals. The banks are closing all the gaps in terms of their side. They're constantly at it. But do you and I do the same? And that's where the problem is, unfortunately. And it's all about social engineering. You know, criminals are amazing at even
we've
psychology.
All been duped. I don't mean to do this, you know, in a judgmental way. I've been taken for a ride before a number of times, and I'm pretty savvy.
Sure.
So, I mean, it happens to all of us. So get over that very quickly. Maybe some other areas that might lighten the mood, or are we seeing other increases?
So we've seen card crime obviously still quite significantly high, 18% on credit card and 17.5% on debit card. But what we've seen on the violent crimes side, we've seen significant decreases. I think everybody knew about all the cash in transit heists last year. Yeah. We saw it going viral, all these videos. Yeah. Yes, so we've got a 22% decrease in the amount that's lost, and 22% in the number of incidents as well. So that's also decreases. That's
literally lives being saved as well, which is great.
Yes, yeah. So that we're happy about that. We've seen in terms of what we call associated robberies. That's where people are being robbed after they draw money either at an ATM or a bank branch, or when they're on their way to the bank to do a deposit. We've seen a very significant 33% decrease in the number of incidents, and 22% down in terms of the amounts lost. So we're happy about that. We've seen a decrease in the attacks on our ATMs. This is the physical attacks on our ATMs. So yes, definitely some good news, but I think more importantly than anything else is for us to know that criminals will stop at nothing to get their hands on information of ours that they can use to compromise our bank accounts.
I think that's where we must leave it, to really reinforce that. It seems like when the cash is in our hand, we'll protect it, but when it's in the virtual space, when it's in that information phase, that's when it's most at risk. Thank you so much. Some positive news there. Thank you so much on a human sense. And a lot of that says to me that the organizations that, groups such as yourself, are getting the message out there within the banking institutions, and part of the battle is being won. But I think now, guys, we know it is up to us, and unfortunately these crimes are a reality, and it seems to be all around us at the moment. That is the reality. So it's not just ATM card fraud, it is also on the online space. It is when our information is most at risk. That is extremely prevalent here in South Africa, and that's something that each one of us can do something about. So join us next week when SABRIC CEO Kalyani joins us again to tell us how to avoid becoming a victim of ATM card swapping, which he has touched on before, but we'll delve a little deeper.
We are brave, innovative, everywhere. We are SABRIC.